Yo, what's good? What's good, family? It's your boy Trades with the early morning pre-market analysis. I hope everybody on the right side or is gonna open on the right side this morning. But I don't think that we're quite out the water just yet. But what we're seeing from the market this morning, as far as NVDA and the rest of the pump, is that's super dope. So shout out to NVIDIA for showing them who's the fucking boss. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and break down a couple of stocks that I am going to also drop down in the pre-market analysis. If you on after hours, you're gonna see it. If you in the Discord, the Kingdom Trading family, what's up? You're gonna see it. But this is just for the ones that want to watch it, get a visual of my breakdowns, my analysis, and we go from there. So if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, drop the like button. And if you want to see me break down any other tickers or stocks, feel free to drop them down in the comments. And I'll start doing analysis on a few other you guys' favorite stocks that you like to trade. Maybe I can help give some insight, some due diligence. Not financial advice. It's just what I like to look at them and what I see on the charts. So first and foremost, I got SPY up. Something that we was watching yesterday. I didn't take any calls, but I definitely was watching and looking for this 669 level to be retested rather soon. Um, it's been hell. We've been gapping down over the past couple of days, and now we're finally getting this gap up that's going to take place if it holds. We do have pre-market data that comes out an hour prior to opening, and I think it's something else coming out after market opens. But if we continue to hold, this is a good indication that bulls are starting to step in. So um, this can be a nice little flip of supply and demand here. As you can see, we was rejecting above this 665 level. If this gap opens up above 669, 670, then I think this is a good indication that we want to start building back to the upside. So um, I think I'm probably gonna wait until the dust settles for a bit. If I miss the pump, oh well, I miss it. But even if it gets faded back down, this will send us back into consolidation if we drop back in here. Um, the same way we've been watching the actual consolidation here over the past couple of days. So that's gonna be the first thing that I'm just prepping for. Not saying that it's gonna happen, but it's always good to have a plan B just in case your original analysis doesn't work out. So if we do drop back below this 663, 664, I'm just thinking that they'll probably drop us back into consolidation. We'll just look for these lows to be retested over time if it does go back in here. But if it just decides to take off from here, my next levels that I'm watching for is back above 680. You see, we got a gap that's still unfilled up here, 682. So that's the overall target. It's gonna be filled eventually. Bulls are gonna have to establish another gap up here somewhere, just because you don't want that extended move um, to get exhausted and roll itself back down to the 669 and consolidate here. So that's the game plan for SPY. We're gonna see how this gap up gets reacted to, whether it's gonna kind of consolidate with inside of here and then decide to move up, or if it's gonna get faded back into accumulation for the next move or the next catalyst to the upside. Like I said, if it probably wasn't for NVIDIA, we wouldn't be here right now. We'll still be chopping sideways somewhere up in here. So um, just let the dust settle, see how the play works itself out, and then we'll adjust from there. You feel me? So next up is the Qs. Now this kind of pissed me off. You feel me? If you're in the Discord, we was playing 16 calls just about all day, and for risk management purposes, I always set a stop loss. If the stop loss hits, oh well, so be it. If it doesn't, then we good. We can swing, or um, probably within the next 15, 20 minutes, we're gonna be printing some money. But if you are in the Discord, shout outs to you. If you still holding these 16 calls, beautiful. Um, if we can maintain a level above this, then it's a gap up here that I think that the Qs are gonna want to target. 610, 614, 621. That's gonna be the steps that I think that we take if we continue to trend up. If we get faded back down, then 599 has been a zone that I wanted to see the Qs maintain. And we did fairly well. Lowest that it dropped down is around like the 592 range. But you know, we tried to hold support here, dip down. The dip continued to get bought below 598, which is a good sign. It's letting us know, hey, the bulls are buying anywhere in between these ranges. It was needed. So, just like I said on the spot, we opened up above 610. Cool. That's going to be good confirmation for bulls stepping in, even if we get faded back down. Big accumulation, big buy zone between 610 and 600 right now, in my opinion. As long as we continue to hold them levels, I think that we're good. We're overshadowing this gap right here that the bear set up with now this big gap. If it holds during opening bell, of course, big gap up that the bulls are going to set up right here for that little tug of war battle and possibly squeeze us out back to the upside to fill this right here. This is where bulls are going to have to step in once it gets to the upside. You don't want that exhaustion movement from 600 to 621. You don't want that to roll over. That's a big move that's going to take a lot of momentum to maintain. So once we start filling this gap, you know, if you're still in, start taking profits, roll those profits over and have a stop loss in place. Because if we gap up, then that'll be another indication that the bulls are stepping in to overshadow the bears, and we'll continue to ride this thing up to the upside. But this is the target that I'm looking for, at least going into the next couple of weeks, if not this week. And we'll just continue to watch how everything plays out going into the next, well, today and tomorrow. So let's check out NVDA. Post ER, we saw yesterday that the bulls were trying to step in a little bit early. We actually opened a little bit lower. We opened at 184.77. So a little bit above this 184 target, filled some of the gap down, and then it took off. And, you know, we expected this little tug of war yesterday just because simply, you know, you got bears right here, bulls down here. ER sent it through the roof. So right now it's sitting at 195. Similar to what we saw right here. Bulls will start to step in, overshadow this bearish gap right here. I wouldn't be surprised if it, you know, came back down and filled some of this gap, but in order for it to stay relevant, it's gonna need to stay above this 192 level. If it drops back into here, then it's a possibility that, you know, they flush the price a little bit lower. We trend back down to fill, you know, some of these gap levels here, possibly this open gap right here. But as of right now, if we hold this 192 level, I think we can continue to make moves up. Here's another gap down that we have right here on the retest of 199. So just be careful. Even though bulls are overshadowing one spot, they still have another level that they're gonna have to overtake too. So it's been a hell of a 2 months, 3 months for the market. Pretty crazy, but for the most part, it looks like it's trying to recover, get itself set up for next year, possibly the Santa rally, and you know, turn around. So if you've been bleeding out over the past month or so, this is your opportunity to, you know, this is a nice dip to buy. It's a little choppy on the charts with the gaps, but as long as NVIDIA can continue to overshadow these bearish zones, I think this is a nice dip to buy. as far as NVDA goes. It has plenty of room up, at least up to 207. So if we decide to get faded back down, like I said, it's kind of choppy here between 190 and 179. Big zone, I know, but that's just because it's just a lot of consolidation, a lot of mixed sentiments in this area. So, like I said, you just have to see how the dust settles, especially with post earnings, pre earnings. The prices are kind of wacky. So, just be careful. Take profits if you took any lottos, and set shot back up again after you get out with those gains. You feel me? So let's see how that plays out. And last but not least, we're gonna check out Google. All right, so Google has been an absolute titan over the past months. It's been outperforming everything in my opinion. I wrote here that I wouldn't be surprised if we actually retested 319, 320, just because it has plenty of interest anywhere in these levels. So as you can see, we got kind of choppy and tied up here between 291 and 277. But anything below 277 right now has been an absolute buy. The only thing about Google is these spikes to the upside. Yeah, it runs, but it creates a bit of a trap, just because it gets faded. Every time it has these nice pops, it gets faded back to the downside until it's ready to pop again unexpectedly and continue to move to the upside. So right now with Google, I'm liking buys below 285. If we fill this gap to the downside and come and completely fill this gap down to 277, I think anything below that you can go long going into next year with Google. Like I said, absolute titan. It's been moving. Every pullback has been bought. It doesn't consolidate long, and even if the dip does happen by noon or the next following day, the prices are right back up. So I think Google would be a safe buy going into next year. Even if we come back down and retest 277 or lower, I think we go long going into next year, January, February, March calls, and until the narrative changes or something switches up, I think it's good to buy. So, like I said, everything that I just went over here, it isn't financial advice. I'm just sharing charts, due diligence, and what I see maybe help somebody else out with some levels that they like or whatnot. But we're gonna go ahead and jump out, get prepared for the day. It's your boy Royalty Trades. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, like. If you want tickers looked at, make sure you drop them in the comments. In my next vid, you know, I'll break them down, and then we can go ahead and see what we can see. So hope everybody has a pretty dope trading day, and hope y'all be on the right side of the market. So catch y'all when I see y'all, and let's go ahead and make this money. Peace.